FC Barcelona. Football Club Barcelona, commonly known as Barcelona and familiarly as Barça, is a professional football club based in Barcelona, Catalonia, Spain, that competes in La Liga, the top flight of Spanish football. Founded in 1899 by a group of Swiss, Catalan, German, and English footballers led by Joan Gamper, the club has become a symbol of Catalan culture and Catalanism, hence the motto Més que un club, more than a club. Unlike many other football clubs, the supporters own and operate Barcelona. It is the third most valuable football club in the world, worth $5.51 billion, and the world's fourth richest football club in terms of revenue, with an annual turnover of €800.1 million. The official Barcelona anthem is the Cant del Barça, written by Jaume Picas and Josep Maria Espinas. Barcelona traditionally play in dark shades of blue and garnet stripes, hence nicknamed Blaugrana. Domestically, Barcelona has won a record 77 trophies, 27 La Liga, 31 Copa del Rey, 14 Supercopa de España, 3 Copa Eva Duarte, and 2 Copa de la Liga titles, as well as being the record holder for the latter 4 competitions. In international club football, the club has won 22 European and worldwide titles, 5 UEFA Champions League titles, a record 4 UEFA Cup Winners' Cups, a joint record 5 UEFA Super Cups, a record 3 Intercities Fairs Cups, a joint record 2 Latin Cups, and 3 FIFA Club World Cups. Barcelona was ranked first in the International Federation of Football History and Statistics Club World Ranking for 1997, 2009, 2011, 2012, and 2015, and occupies the 9th position on the UEFA Club Rankings as of May 2023. The club has a long-standing rivalry with Real Madrid, and matches between the two teams are referred to as El Clásico. Barcelona is one of the most widely supported teams in the world, and the club has one of the largest social media following in the world among sports teams. Barcelona players have won a joint record 12 Ballon d'Or awards, with recipients including Johan Cruyff, as well as a record 6 FIFA World Player of the Year awards, with winners including Romario, Ronaldo, Rivaldo, Ronaldinho, and Lionel Messi. In 2010, 3 players who came through the club's youth academy, Lionel Messi, Andrés Iniesta and Xavi, were chosen as the 3 best players in the world in the Ballon d'Or ranking, an unprecedented feat for players from the same football academy. Additionally, players representing the club have won a record 8 European Golden Shoe awards. Barcelona is one of 3 founding members of the Primera División that have never been relegated from the top division since its inception in 1929, along with Athletic Bilbao and Real Madrid. In 2009, Barcelona became the first Spanish club to win the continental treble consisting of La Liga, Copa del Rey and the UEFA Champions League, and also became the first European football club to win 6 out of 6 competitions in a single year, by also winning the Spanish Super Cup, UEFA Super Cup and FIFA Club World Cup. In 2011, the club became European champions again, winning 5 trophies. This Barcelona team, which won 14 trophies in just 4 years under Pep Guardiola, is considered by some in the sport to be the greatest team of all time. By winning their 5th Champions League trophy in 2015 under Luis Enrique, Barcelona became the first European football club in history to achieve the continental treble twice.
History: 1899 to 1922. Beginnings. On October 22, 1899, Swiss Joan Gamper placed an advertisement in Los Deportes declaring his wish to form a football club. A positive response resulted in a meeting at the Gimnasio Sol on November 29. 11 players attended: Walter Wild, the first president of the club, Luis de Osso, Bartomeu Terradas, Otto Kunzel, Otto Meyer, Enrique Ducal, Per Cabot, Carles Pujol, Josep Lobet, John Parsons, and William Parsons, and Football Club Barcelona was born. FC Barcelona had a successful start in regional and national cups, competing in the Campionat de Catalunya and the Copa del Rey. In 1901, the club participated in the first football competition played on the Iberian Peninsula, the Copa Macaya, narrowly losing to Hispania AC, but in the following year, Barça won the tournament, the club's first ever piece of silverware, and then participated in the first Copa del Rey, losing 1-2 to Biscaya, a combination of players from Athletic Club and Bilbao FC, in the final. In 1908, Joan Gamper, now known as Joan Gamper, became club president in a desperate attempt to save Barcelona from extinction, finding the club struggling not just on the pitch, but also financially and socially, after not winning a competition since the Campionat de Catalunya in 1905. He said in a meeting, "Barcelona cannot die and must not die. If there is nobody who is going to try, then I will assume the responsibility of running the club from now on." Club president on 5 separate occasions between 1908 and 1925, he spent 25 years in total at the helm. One of his main achievements was ensuring Barça acquire its own stadium and thus generate a stable income. On March 14, 1909, the team moved into the Camp de la Industria, a stadium with a capacity of 8,000. To celebrate their new surroundings, the club conducted a logo contest the following year. Carles Kamamala won the contest, and his suggestion became the crest that the club still wears, with some minor changes, as of the present day. The stadium is regarded as the main element that helped the club grow in the 1910s and become a dominant team, winning 3 successive Campeonats de Catalunya between 1909 and 1911, 3 Copa del Rey in 4 years between 1910 and 1913, and 4 successive Pyrenees Cup between the inaugural year in 1910 and 1913, which was one of the earliest international club cups in Europe since it consisted of the best teams of Languedoc, Midi, and Aquitaine, southern France, the Basque Country, and Catalonia. All were former members of the Marca Hispanica region. The contest was the most prestigious in that era. Notable figures of Barca's first great team include Carles Kamamala, Alfredo Massana, Emma Cazura, Paco Bru, and Jack Greenwell. The latter became the club's first full-time coach in 1917. During the same period, the club changed its official language from Castilian to Catalan and gradually evolved into an important symbol of Catalan identity. For many fans, participating in the club had less to do with the game itself and more with being a part of the club's collective identity. On February 4, 1917, the club held its first tribute match to honor Ramon Torralba, who played from 1913 to 1928. The match was against local side Terrassa, where Barcelona won the match 6-2. Gamper simultaneously launched a campaign to recruit more club members, and by 1922, the club had more than 20,000, who helped finance a new stadium. The club then moved to the new Les Cortes, which they inaugurated the same year. Les Cortes had an initial capacity of 30,000, and in the 1940s it was expanded to 60,000. In 1912, Gamper recruited Paulino Alcantara, the club's 7th all-time top scorer, and in 1917, Gamper also recruited Jack Greenwell as the first full-time manager in Barcelona's history. After this hiring, the club's fortunes began to improve on the field and soon enjoyed its first golden age. Along with Alcantara, the Barca team under Greenwell also included Sajabarba, Ricardo Zamora, Josep Samitier, Felix Sisamaga, and Franz Platko. This team won 9 out of 10 Campeonats de Catalunya between 1919 and 1928, and 2 Copa del Rey titles in 1920 and 1922. In total, during the Gamper-led era, Barcelona won 11 Campeonats de Catalunya, 6 Copa del Rey, and 4 Pyrenees Cups.
1923 to 1957. Rivera, Republic and Civil War. On June 14, 1925, in a spontaneous reaction against Primo de Rivera's dictatorship, the crowd in the stadium jeered the Royal March. As a reprisal, the ground was closed for 6 months and Gamper was forced to relinquish the presidency of the club. This coincided with the transition to professional football, and, in 1926, the directors of Barcelona publicly claimed, for the first time, to operate a professional football club. On July 3, 1927, the club held a second testimonial match for Paulino Alcantara against the Spanish national team. To kick off the match, local journalist and pilot Josep Canudas dropped the ball onto the pitch from his aeroplane. In 1928, victory in the Spanish Cup was celebrated with a poem titled Oda a Platko, which was written by a member of the generation of 27, Rafael Alberti, inspired by the heroic performance of the Barcelona goalkeeper, Franz Platko. On June 23, 1929, Barcelona won the inaugural Spanish League. A year after winning the championship, on July 30, 1930, Gamper committed suicide after a period of depression brought on by personal and financial problems. Although they continued to have players of the standing of Josep Escola, the club now entered a period of decline, in which political conflict overshadowed sports throughout society. Attendance at matches dropped as the citizens of Barcelona were occupied with discussing political matters. Although the team won the Campionat de Catalunya in 1930, 1931, 1932, 1934, 1936, and 1938, success at a national level, with the exception of the 1937 disputed title, evaded them. A month after the entire Spanish Civil War began in 1936, several players from Barcelona enlisted in the ranks of those who fought against the military uprising, along with players from Athletic Bilbao. On August 6, Falangist soldiers near Guadarrama murdered club president Josep Sunyol, a representative of the pro-independence political party. He was dubbed the martyr of Barcelonism, and his murder was a defining moment in the history of FC Barcelona and Catalan identity. In the summer of 1937, the squad was on tour in Mexico and the United States, where it was received as an ambassador of the Second Spanish Republic. The tour led to the financial security of the club, but also resulted in half of the team seeking asylum in Mexico and France, making it harder for the remaining team to contest for trophies. On March 16, 1938, Barcelona came under aerial bombardment from the Italian Air Force, causing more than 3,000 deaths, with one of the bombs hitting the club's offices. A few months later, Catalonia came under occupation, and as a symbol of the undisciplined Catalanism, the club, now down to just 3,486 members, faced a number of restrictions. All signs of regional nationalism, including language, flag, and other signs of separatism, were banned throughout Spain. The Catalan flag was banned, and the club were prohibited from using non-Spanish names. These measures forced the club to change its name to Club de Futbol Barcelona and to remove the Catalan flag from its crest. In 1943, Barcelona faced rivals Real Madrid in the semi-finals of Copa del Generalissimo, now the Copa del Rey. The first match at Les Corts was won by Barcelona 3-0. Real Madrid comfortably won the second leg, beating Barcelona 11-1. According to football writer Sid Lowe, there have been relatively few mentions of the game, and it is not a result that has been particularly celebrated in Madrid. Indeed, the 11-1 occupies a far more prominent place in Barcelona's history. This was the game that first formed the identification of Madrid as the team of the dictatorship and Barcelona as its victims. It has been alleged by local journalist Paco Aguilar that Barcelona's players were threatened by police in the changing room, though nothing was ever proven. Despite the difficult political situation, CF Barcelona enjoyed considerable success during the 1940s and 1950s. In 1945, with Josep Samitier as coach and players like César, Ramírez and Velasco, they won La Liga for the first time since 1929. They added 2 more titles in 1948 and 1949. In 1949, they also won the first Copa Latina. In June 1950, Barcelona signed Laszlo Kubala, who was to be an important figure at the club. On a rainy Sunday of 1951, the crowd left Les Corts Stadium after a 2-1 win against Santander by foot, refusing to catch any trams, and surprising the Francoist authorities. The reason was simple. At the same time, a tram strike was taking place in Barcelona, receiving the support of Blaugrana fans. Events like this made CF Barcelona represent much more than just Catalonia, and many progressive Spaniards saw the club as a staunch defender of rights and freedoms. Coach Ferdinand Dosic and Laszlo Kubala led the team to 5 different trophies, including La Liga, the Copa del Generalissimo, the Copa Latina, the Copa Eva Duarte, and the Copa Martini and Rossi in 1952. In 1953, the club won La Liga and the Copa del Generalissimo again.
1957, 1978, Club de Futbol Barcelona. With Helenio Herrera as coach, a young Luis Suarez, the European Footballer of the Year in 1960, and 2 influential Hungarians recommended by Kubala, Sandor Kocsis and Zoltan Zabor, the team won another national double in 1959 and a La Liga and Fairs Cup double in 1960. In 1961, they became the first club to beat Real Madrid in a European Cup playoff. However, they lost 2-3 to Benfica in the final. The 1960s were less successful for the club, with Real Madrid monopolizing La Liga. The completion of Camp Nou, finished in 1957, meant the club had little money to spend on new players. The 1960s saw the emergence of Josep Maria Fust and Karls Rexach and the club won the Copa del Generalissimo in 1963 and the Fairs Cup in 1966. Barcelona restored some pride by beating Real Madrid 1-0 in the 1968 Copa del Generalissimo final at the Santiago Bernabéu in front of dictator Francisco Franco, with coach Salvador Artigas, a former Republican pilot in the Civil War. With the end of Franco's dictatorship in 1974, the club changed its official name back to Futbol Club Barcelona and reverted the crest to its original design, including the original letters once again. The 1973-74 season saw the arrival of Johan Cruyff, who was bought for a world record £920,000 from Ajax. Already an established player with Ajax, Cruyff quickly won over the Barcelona fans when he told the European press that he chose Barcelona over Real Madrid because he could not play for a club associated with Francisco Franco. He further endeared himself when he named his son Jordi, after the local Catalan St. George. Next to champions like Juan Manuel Asensi, Carles Rexach, and Hugo Sotol, he helped the club win the 1973-74 season for the first time since 1960, defeating Real Madrid 5-0 at the Santiago Bernabéu en route. He was crowned European Footballer of the Year in 1973 during his first season with Barcelona, his second Ballon d'Or win. He won his first while playing for Ajax in 1971. Cruyff received this prestigious award a third time, the first player to do so, in 1974, while he was still with Barcelona.
1978-2000, Núñez and stabilization. In 1978, Josep Luis Núñez became the first elected president of FC Barcelona, and since then the members of Barcelona have elected the club president. The process of electing a president of FC Barcelona was closely tied to Spain's transition to democracy in 1974 and the end of Franco's dictatorship. The new president's main objective was to develop Barcelona into a world-class club by giving it stability both on and off the pitch. His presidency was to last for 22 years, and it deeply affected the image of Barcelona, as Núñez held to a strict policy regarding wages and discipline, letting go of such players as Diego Maradona, Romario and Ronaldo rather than meeting their demands. On May 16, 1979, the club won its first European Cup Winners' Cup by beating Fortuna Düsseldorf 4-3 in Basel in a final watched by more than 30,000 traveling Blaugrana fans. The same year, Núñez began to invest in the club's youth program by converting La Masia into a dormitory for young academy players from abroad. The name of the dormitory would later become synonymous with the youth program of Barcelona. In June 1982, Diego Maradona was signed for a world record fee of £5 million from Boca Juniors. In the following season under coach César Luis Menotti, Barcelona won the Copa del Rey, beating Real Madrid. Maradona's time with Barcelona, however, was short-lived and he soon left for Napoli. At the start of the 1984-85 season, Terry Venables was hired as manager, and he won La Liga with noteworthy displays by German midfielder Bernd Schuster. The next season, he took the team to their second European Cup final, only to lose on penalties to Steaua Bucuresti during a dramatic evening in Seville. Around this time, tensions began to arise between what was perceived as President Núñez's dictatorial rule and the nationalistic support group, Boixos Noise. The group, identified with the left-wing separatism, repeatedly demanded the resignation of Núñez and openly defied him through chants and banners at matches. At the same time, Barcelona experienced an eruption in skinheads, who often identified with a right-wing separatism. The skinheads slowly transferred the Boixos Noise ideology from liberalism to fascism, which caused division within the group and a sudden support for Núñez's presidency. Inspired by British hooligans, the remaining Boixos Noise became violent, causing havoc leading to large-scale arrests. After the 1986 FIFA World Cup, Barcelona signed the English top scorer Gary Lineker, along with goalkeeper Andoni Zubizarreta, but the team could not achieve success, as Schuster was excluded from the team. Terry Venables was subsequently fired at the beginning of the 1987-88 season and replaced with Luis Aragonés. The season finished with the players rebelling against President Núñez, in an event known as the Hesperia Mutiny, and a 1-0 victory in the Copa del Rey final against Real Sociedad. In 1988, Johan Cruyff returned to the club, this time as manager, and he assembled what would later be dubbed the Dream Team. He used a mix of Spanish players like Pep Guardiola, José Mari Baquero, John Andoni Goicoechea, Miguel Angel Nadal, and Siki Begiristain while signing international players such as Ronald Koeman, Michael Laudrup, Romario and Risto Stoichkov. It was 10 years after the inception of the youth program La Masia, when the young players began to graduate and play for their first team. Pep Guardiola, the future coach of Barcelona, was one of the first graduates and would go on to receive international recognition. Under Cruyff's guidance, Barcelona won 4 consecutive La Liga titles from 1991 to 1994. They beat Sampdoria in both the 1989 UEFA Cup Winners' Cup final and the 1992 European Cup final at Wembley, with a free-kick goal from Dutch international Ronald Koeman. They also won a Copa del Rey in 1990, the European Super Cup in 1992 and 3 Supercopa de España trophies. With 11 trophies, Cruyff became the club's most successful manager at that point. He also became the club's longest consecutive serving manager, serving 8 years. Cruyff's fortune was to change, and in his final 2 seasons, he failed to win any trophies and fell out with President Josep Luis Núñez, resulting in his departure. Reacting to Cruyff's departure, an independent protest group was organized by Armand Carabin, Joan Laporta and Alphonse Godal. The objective of the group, called L'Elephant Blau, was to oppose the presidency of Núñez, which they regarded as a corruption of the club's traditional values. Laporta would later take over the presidency of Barcelona in 2003. Cruyff was briefly replaced by Bobby Robson, who took charge of the club for a single season in 1996 to 97. He recruited Ronaldo for a world record transfer fee from his previous club, PSV, and delivered a cup treble, winning the Copa del Rey, UEFA Cup Winners' Cup and the Supercopa de España, with Ronaldo registering 47 goals in 49 games. Despite his success, Robson was only ever seen as a short-term solution, while the club waited for Louis van Gaal to become available. Like Maradona, Ronaldo only stayed a short time before he left for Inter Milan in another world record transfer. However, new heroes emerged such as Luis Figo, Patrick Kluivert, Luis Enrique and Rivaldo, and the team won a Copa del Rey and La Liga double in 1998. In 1999, the club celebrated its centenary, winning the Primera División title, and Rivaldo became the 4th Barcelona player to be awarded European Footballer of the Year. Despite this domestic success, the failure to emulate Real Madrid in the Champions League led to Van Gaal and Núñez resigning in 2000.
2000 bis 2008, exit Núñez, enter Laporta. The departures of Núñez and Van Gaal were hardly noticed by the fans when compared to that of Luis Figo, then club vice-captain. Figo had become a cult hero and was considered by Catalans to be one of their own. Barcelona fans, however, were distraught by Figo's decision to join arch-rivals Real Madrid, and during subsequent visits to Camp Nou, Figo was given an extremely hostile reception. Upon his first return, a piglet's head and a full bottle of whiskey were thrown at him from the crowd. The next 3 years saw the club in decline, and managers came and went. Van Gaal was replaced by Lorenzo Serraferrer who, despite an extensive investment in players in the summer of 2000, presided over a mediocre league campaign and a first-round Champions League exit, and was dismissed late in the season. Long-serving Barcelona deputy coach Carles Rexach was appointed as his replacement, initially on a temporary basis, and managed to at least steer the club to the last Champions League spot on the final day of the season against Valencia via an exceptional performance from Rivaldo, who completed arguably the greatest hat-trick in history with an overhead bicycle kick winner in the final minute to secure qualification. Despite better form in La Liga and a good run to the semi-finals of the Champions League, Rexach was never viewed as a long-term solution, and that summer Van Gaal returned to the club for a second spell as manager. What followed, despite another decent Champions League performance, was one of the worst La Liga campaigns in the club's history, with the team as low as 15th in February 2003. This led to Van Gaal's resignation and replacement for the rest of the campaign by Radimir Antic, though a 6th-place finish was the best that he could manage. At the end of the season, Antic's short-term contract was not renewed, and club president Joan Gamper resigned, his position having been made completely untenable by such a disastrous season on top of the club's overall decline in fortune since he became president 3 years prior. After the disappointment of the Gaspart era, the combination of a new young president, Joan Laporta, and a young new manager, former Dutch and AC Milan star Frank Rijkaard, saw the club bounce back. On the field, an influx of international players, including Ronaldinho, Deco, Henrik Larsson, Ludovic Juli, Samuel Eto'o, Rafael Marquez and Edgar Davids, combined with homegrown Spanish players, such as Carles Puyol, Andrés Iniesta, Xavi and Victor Valdés, led to the club's return to success. Barcelona won La Liga and the Supercopa de España in 2004-05, and Ronaldinho and Eto'o were voted first and third respectively in the FIFA World Player of the Year awards. In the 2005-06 season, Barcelona repeated their league and Supercopa successes. The pinnacle of the league season arrived at the Santiago Bernabéu in a 3-0 win over Real Madrid. It was Rijkaard's second victory at the Bernabéu, making him the first Barcelona manager to win there twice. Ronaldinho's performance was so impressive that after his second goal, which was Barcelona's third, some Real Madrid fans gave him a standing ovation. In the Champions League, Barcelona beat English club Arsenal in the final. Trailing 1-0 to a 10-man Arsenal and with less than 15 minutes remaining, they came back to win 2-1, with substitute Henrik Larsson, in his final appearance for the club, setting up goals for Samuel Eto'o and fellow substitute Juliano Belletti, for the club's first European Cup victory in 14 years. Despite being the favorites and starting strongly, Barcelona finished the 2006-07 season without trophies. A pre-season US tour was later blamed for a string of injuries to key players, including leading scorer Eto'o and rising star Lionel Messi. There was open feuding as Eto'o publicly criticized coach Rijkaard and Ronaldinho. Ronaldinho also admitted that a lack of fitness affected his form. In La Liga, Barcelona were in first place for much of the season, but inconsistency in the new year saw Real Madrid overtake them to become champions. Barcelona advanced to the semi-finals of the Copa del Rey, winning the first leg against Getafe 5-2, with a goal from Messi bringing comparison to Diego Maradona's goal of the century, but then lost the second leg 4-0. They took part in the 2006 FIFA Club World Cup, but were beaten by a late goal in the final against Brazilian side Internacional. In the Champions League, Barcelona were knocked out of the competition in the last 16 by eventual runners-up Liverpool on away goals. Barcelona finished the 2007-08 season third in La Liga and reached the semi-finals of the UEFA Champions League and Copa del Rey, both times losing to the eventual champions, Manchester United and Valencia, respectively. The day after a 4-1 defeat to Real Madrid, Joan Laporta announced that Barcelona B coach Pep Guardiola would take over Frank Rijkaard's duties on June 30, 2008.
2008-2012, Guardiola era. Barcelona B youth manager Pep Guardiola took over Frank Rijkaard's duties at the conclusion of the season. Guardiola brought with him the now famous tiki-taka style of play he had been taught during his time in the Barcelona youth teams. In the process, Guardiola sold Ronaldinho and Deco and started building the Barcelona team around Xavi, Andrés Iniesta and Lionel Messi. Barça beat Athletic Bilbao 4-1 in the 2009 Copa del Rey final, winning the competition for a record-breaking 25th time. A historic 2-6 victory against Real Madrid followed 3 days later, and ensured that Barcelona became 2008-09 La Liga champions. Barça finished the season by beating Manchester United 2-0 at the Stadio Olimpico in Rome with goals from Eto'o and Messi, to win their third Champions League title and complete the first-ever treble won by a Spanish team. The team went on to win the 2009 Supercopa de España against Athletic Bilbao and the 2009 UEFA Super Cup against Shakhtar Donetsk, becoming the first European club to win both domestic and European Super Cups following a treble. In December 2009, Barcelona won the 2009 Club World Cup. Barcelona accomplished 2 new records in Spanish football in 2010 as they retained the La Liga trophy with 99 points and won the Supercopa de España for a 9th time. After Laporta's departure from the club in June 2010, Sandro Rosell was soon elected as the new president. The elections were held on June 13, where he got 61.35%, 57,088 votes, a record of total votes. Rosell signed David Villa from Valencia for €40 million and Javier Mascherano from Liverpool for €19 million. At the 2010 World Cup in South Africa, Barcelona players that had graduated from the club's La Masia youth system would play a major role in Spain becoming world champions. On July 11th, 7 players who came through the academy participated in the final, 6 of whom were Barcelona players who started the match, with Iniesta scoring the winning goal against the Netherlands. In November 2010, Barcelona defeated their main rival Real Madrid 5-0 in El Clasico. The ceremony for the 2010 FIFA Ballon d'Or in December, Barcelona's La Masia became the first youth academy ever to have all 3 finalists for the Ballon d'Or, with Messi, Iniesta and Xavi being named the 3 best players in the world for 2010. In the 2010-11 season, Barcelona retained the La Liga trophy, their third title in succession, finishing with 96 points. In April 2011, the club reached the Copa del Rey final, losing 1-0 to Real Madrid at the Mestalla Stadium in Valencia. In May, Barcelona defeated Manchester United in the 2011 Champions League final 3-1 held at Wembley Stadium, a repeat of the 2009 final, winning their fourth European Cup. In August 2011, La Masia graduate Cesc Fabregas was bought from Arsenal and he would help Barcelona defend the Spanish Super Cup against Real Madrid. The Super Cup victory brought the total number of official trophies to 73, matching the number of titles won by Real Madrid. Later the same month, Barcelona won the UEFA Super Cup defeating Porto 2-0 with goals from Messi and Fabregas. This extended the club's overall number of official trophies to 74, surpassing Real Madrid's total amount of official trophies. The Super Cup victory also saw Guardiola win his 12th trophy out of a possible 15 in his 3 years at the helm of the club, becoming the all-time record holder of most titles won as a coach at Barcelona. In December, Barcelona won the Club World Cup for a record second time since its establishment, after defeating 2011 Copa Libertadores holders Santos 4-0 in the final thanks to 2 goals from Messi and goals from Xavi and Fabregas. As a result, the overall trophy haul during the reign of Guardiola was further extended and saw Barcelona win their 13th trophy out of a possible 16. Considered by some in the sport to be the greatest team of all time, with Manchester United manager Alex Ferguson stating, "They mesmerize you with their passing." Their 5 trophies in 2011 saw them receive the Laureus World Sports Award for Team of the Year. In the 2011-12 season, Barcelona lost the semi-finals of the Champions League against Chelsea. Guardiola, who had been on a rolling contract and had faced criticism over his recent tactics and squad selections, announced that he would step down as manager on June 30th and be succeeded by assistant Tito Vilanova. Guardiola finished his tenure with Barça winning the Copa del Rey final 3-0, bringing the tally to 14 trophies that Barça had won under his coaching. It was announced in summer of 2012 that Tito Vilanova, assistant manager at Barcelona, would take over from Pep Guardiola as manager. Following his appointment, Barcelona went on an incredible run that saw them hold the top spot on the league table for the entire season, recording only 2 losses and amassing 100 points. Their top scorer once again was Lionel Messi, who scored 46 goals in La Liga, including 2 hat-tricks. On May 11, 2013, Barcelona were crowned as the Spanish football champions for the 22nd time, still with 4 games left to play. Ultimately, Barcelona ended the season 15 points clear of rivals Real Madrid, despite losing 2-1 to them at the beginning of March. They reached the semi-final stage of both the Copa del Rey and the Champions League, going out to Real Madrid and Bayern Munich respectively. On July 19, it was announced that Vilanova was resigning as Barcelona manager because his throat cancer had returned, and he would be receiving treatment for the second time after a 3-month medical leave in December 2012.
2014 to 2020. Bartomeu era. On July 22, 2013, Gerardo "Tata" Martino was confirmed as manager of Barcelona for the 2013-14 season. Barcelona won the 2013 Supercopa de España 1-1 on away goals. On January 23, 2014, Sandro Rosell resigned as president by the admissibility of a complaint for alleged misappropriation following the transfer of Neymar. Josep Maria Bartomeu replaced him to finish the term. Barcelona won the treble in the 2014-15 season, winning La Liga, Copa del Rey and Champions League titles, and became the first European team to have won the treble twice. On May 17, the club clinched their 23rd La Liga title after defeating Atletico Madrid. This was Barcelona's 7th La Liga title in the last 10 years. On May 30th, the club defeated Athletic Bilbao in the Copa del Rey final at Camp Nou. On June 6, Barcelona won the 2015 Champions League final with a 3-1 win against Juventus, which completed the treble, the club's second in 6 years. Barcelona's attacking trio of Messi, Suarez and Neymar, dubbed MSN, scored 122 goals in all competitions, the most in a season for an attacking trio in Spanish football history. On August 11th, Barcelona started the 2015-16 season, winning a joint record 5th European Super Cup by beating Sevilla 5-4 in the 2015 UEFA Super Cup. They ended the year with a 3-0 win over Argentine club River Plate in the 2015 Club World Cup final on December 20th to win the trophy for a record third time, with Suarez, Messi and Iniesta the top 3 players of the tournament. The Club World Cup was Barcelona's 20th international title, a record only matched by Egyptian club Al Ahly. By scoring 180 goals in 2015 in all competitions, Barcelona set the record for most goals scored in a calendar year, breaking Real Madrid's record of 178 goals scored in 2014. On February 10, 2016, qualifying for the 6th Copa del Rey final in the last 8 seasons, Luis Enrique's Barcelona broke the club's record of 28 consecutive games unbeaten in all competitions set by Guardiola's team in the 2010-11 season, with a 1-1 draw with Valencia in the second leg of the 2015-16 Copa del Rey. With a 5-1 win at Rayo Vallecano on March 3, Barcelona's 35th match unbeaten, the club broke Real Madrid's Spanish record of 34 games unbeaten in all competitions from the 1988-1989 season. After Barca reached 39 matches unbeaten, their run ended on April 2, 2016, with a 2-1 defeat to Real Madrid at Camp Nou. On May 14, 2016, Barcelona won their 6th La Liga title in 8 seasons. The front 3 of Messi, Suarez and Neymar finished the season with 131 goals, breaking the record they had set the previous year for most goals by an attacking trio in a single season. On March 8, 2017, Barcelona made the largest comeback in Champions League history in the 2016-17 UEFA Champions League round of 16 second leg, defeating Paris Saint-Germain 6-1, aggregate score 6-5, despite losing the first leg in France by a score of 4-0. On May 29, 2017, former player Ernesto Valverde was named as Luis Enrique's successor. On September 20, 2017, Barcelona issued a statement exercising their stance on the 2017 Catalan referendum saying, FC Barcelona, in holding the utmost respect for its diverse body of members, will continue to support the will of the majority of Catalan people, and will do so in a civil, peaceful, and exemplary way. The match against UD Las Palmas on the referendum day was requested to be postponed by the Barcelona board due to heavy violence in Catalonia, but the request, was declined by La Liga, therefore being held behind closed doors. 2 directors, Jordi Mons and Carles Villarrubi, handed in their resignations in protest at the games being played. Winning La Liga for the 2017-18 season, on May 9, 2018, Barcelona defeated Villarreal 5-1 to set the longest unbeaten streak, 43 games, in La Liga history. On April 27, 2019, Barcelona won their 26th La Liga title. However, the La Liga title was overshadowed by an improbable Champions League exit to Liverpool in the semi-finals, with Barca losing the second leg 0-4 after being up 3-0 after a home victory. On January 13, 2020, following the loss to Atletico Madrid in the Spanish Super Cup, former Real Betis coach Quique Setién replaced Ernesto Valverde as the new head coach of Barcelona. Ultimately, Barcelona finished the season trophyless for first time in 12 years. On August 17, the club confirmed that Setién had been removed from his position as manager, with director of football Eric Abidal also dismissed from his position. 2 days later, Ronald Koeman was appointed as the new head coach of Barcelona. Rising dissatisfaction among supporters due to worsening finances and decline on the pitch in the previous season led to Josep Maria Bartomeu announcing his resignation as president on October 27, 2020, to avoid facing a vote of no confidence from the club members.
2021, present. Return of Laporta and post-Messi era. On March 7, 2021, Joan Laporta was elected president of Barcelona with 54.28% of the vote. Barcelona won their 31st Copa del Rey, their only trophy under Ronald Koeman, after defeating Athletic Bilbao 4-0 in the final. In August 2021, Barcelona found themselves unable to comply with La Liga's financial fair play requirements, and revealed a club debt of €1.35 billion and a wage bill accounting for 103% of total income. Negotiations with Lionel Messi, now in the final year of his contract, had been ongoing for some time. However, on August 5, 2021, Barcelona announced that they would be unable to re-sign Messi to an extension due to La Liga regulations. This was despite the fact that the club and Messi had reached an agreement over the details of a new contract. Messi departed the club after 21 years as a Barca player, and the club's all-time leading goalscorer, and signed on a free transfer with French club Paris Saint-Germain. The financial implications also restricted Barcelona in the transfer market, and as a result most of the incoming players were either free transfers or loans, and they had to reduce players' wages to register the incoming players. Poor performances in La Liga and the Champions League led to the sacking of Ronald Koeman on October 28, with a club legend Xavi replacing him. Xavi could not reverse the fortunes in the Champions League, and Barcelona dropped down to the Europa League for the first time since 2003-04, subsequently exiting in the quarter-finals. In the domestic league, Xavi improved Barca's form and guided them from 9th to 2nd, guaranteeing a Champions League spot next season. However, this also meant Barcelona finished trophyless after earlier Supercopa and Copa del Rey exits. On January 15, 2023, Xavi guided Barcelona to their first trophy since the 2021 Copa del Rey, as the Catalans defeated Real Madrid 3-1 in the Supercopa de España final. On March 10, 2023, Spanish prosecutors said they had filed a complaint against Barcelona and two of the La Liga club's ex-presidents over alleged payments to a company owned by a senior refereeing official to influence match results. On March 23, 2023, UEFA said it had opened an investigation into the club for a potential violation of the European soccer governing body's legal framework regarding payments made by the club to a company owned by a senior refereeing official. 4 months later, UEFA announced that it temporarily accepted the club's participation in UEFA competitions, reserving the possibility of taking future measures depending on the evolution of the case, which came to be known as the Negreira case. UEFA obligated FC Barcelona to keep informed of the progress of the ongoing investigations proactively and to provide all the documents and information they request.